Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel Business Unfiltered. I'm Jane Hunt and I'm going to be talking about what makes a good leader and what makes a bad leader too, and everything in between. So I'm going to be covering my personal experiences of leadership, the good and the bad, so stay tuned. As a leader and somebody that is in charge of a team, you need to be many people. You need to be motivational. You need to show leadership skills. You need to show compassion. You need to show a bit of everything. And that's a real skill. And that's not something that I was born with or that I even had when I started running a business. It's something that I hope I've developed over time. And I can say that because I know that I was not a good leader to begin with. When I first set up a business, I hadn't even managed anybody before. So I know for definite that I was not a good leader. And along the way, I've learned through trial and error, really, about the qualities that leaders should have and how they should use them, and to what level you need to kind of bring that to. One of my challenges has always been not to overlead or not to interfere too much. I am very much a control freak. Again, I haven't always been, that's something that's really developed over time. And I do like to know what's going on in my business. I'm a nosy person too, so I'm just interested. And yeah, in the past I've probably got too involved with the day-to-day runnings and little bits and pieces that I probably didn't need to focus on. But over time, and certainly in the kind of like last 6 months, last 12 months, I've realised that my time is better spent not overseeing every little detail that goes on in my business, but really spending time on my strengths, where I'm most useful, and that's really growing the business and making sure that as a leader, I'm present, but not too present. There are probably many examples of bad leaders out there, but the ones I know of are really based on my personal experiences. Not recently, but I've had bad leaders. I've had leaders that were way too emotional with their staff, literally wore their heart on their sleeve and got angry and couldn't understand where other people were coming from, and micromanaged and didn't really let their team kind of shine and do what they were there to do, use their expertise. And on the flip side, I've learned from some amazing leaders that respected their team enough to know that they'd been hired because they know what they're doing. They're the experts at what they do. And therefore, you can leave them to get on with things. Still kind of be there if needed, but not there all the time. And certainly kind of not to overstep kind of boundaries or to dispute knowledge that maybe you don't have to. I think there's a lot of things that go into being a good leader, and I probably certainly won't touch on them all here, and I doubt I have all those skills anyway. But I do think that I'm very good at showing up, being motivated, and motivating my team with my energy, and really respecting those that work for me. And I think that's so important. And that's something that I've learned the hard way. And I think I've made many mistakes in the past, especially in the first few years of owning a business. But these days, I'm very much aware of how, what my impact is on others, and kind of lessening that in a way, and only being there when I really need to be there, when I've got something really useful to offer in that situation. And I think that's good leadership, knowing when to step in and when to step away. It's taken a lot of time for me to get to this point, but I do think that I am comfortable as a leader today. It's not to say that I'm comfortable every day, because I still have self-doubts, I still have imposter syndrome about the size of the agency I run. We're bigger than I ever thought we'd be, and we have a great reputation, and with that comes a lot of responsibility, I think. So I don't take that lightly, but I do think I'm much more confident in my abilities, and to some extent I don't care as much what people think of me anymore. As long as I know that I'm doing a good job for myself, the business and the team, then that's enough for me. Leadership skills are more natural to some people than others, for definite. I never thought I would be a leader of anything. I never thought I had the confidence. I never thought I had the natural ability to kind of stand in front of others and kind of deliver anything or motivate people. I never thought I was that person. And that's something that's learned, and I've done some public speaking training. I've done all kinds of things to build my confidence and to feel better in my situation. But I know there are people out there that comes really naturally to, and they're natural leaders that people want to follow, people really warm to. Just because you own a business and you're the leader of that business, it doesn't mean to say you've arrived. It doesn't mean to say you are the best leader that you can be. Far from it. I think one of the main attributes of being a leader is that you're aware you're always learning. There's always something new to find out, to experience, a new challenge that you haven't faced before. So you have to go into it thinking, I need to learn from this, and I'll be better at the other end of this too. So it's always a school day as far as leadership is concerned, and anybody that doesn't recognise that is not a good leader. The one thing I've done on my journey that I believe makes me a better leader is really believing in myself. And that might sound like really corny bullshit, but I think it's really important. You need that self-confidence in order to kind of get out of bed every day, make those decisions. Some of them are tough decisions. Some of them come with a lot of responsibility and some risk as well. So it's super important that you do believe in yourself, that, if you need to, you follow your gut as well. And you just have confidence in what you're doing and showing up every day, because it's hard. It really is. There's a lot of responsibility that comes with being a leader, and having the energy to do that, to be motivational and to make some tough decisions too. With social media, I think it makes it a bit more challenging to be a leader these days, but it also presents more opportunities. And especially with LinkedIn, with Twitter, and even with TikTok now, there's so many opportunities for people to kind of thrive in leadership roles, but also learn a lot of leadership skills as well. I'm constantly learning from other business owners on LinkedIn, and there's a lot more talk about kind of the challenges of being a business owner and a leader, and that's so useful. So I think social media is beneficial. It can also be pressure, though. I think there's this pressure to put yourself out there, to be seen, to be saying the right kind of things. And sometimes that's not always doable. Occasionally you do say something that's not going to be taken well, obviously accidentally. But there's definitely pressure to be a leader. But it's also a pressure that I kind of relish in a way, because it's another challenge, it's another opportunity to show kind of what we do, how good we are, and how good my team is at what we do too. I think there's a lot of leaders I see out there that you could call influential leaders, and certainly people that I look up to. I wouldn't say there's anyone I feel threatened by, because I don't think that's the way of looking at it. But I think there's ways of, if you are going to compare yourself to others, then make sure you're taking something positive from it and you use it to motivate you and you use them to learn from, especially if you admire them and look up to them. You know, what's good that you can take from them? What can you implement? You know, just watching them kind of do what they do naturally, I think is really important. And then if you're looking at competitors, then try not to focus on the negatives. So what positives can you take from what they're doing? What have they done well, or what haven't they done well that you can learn from too? Because it will work both ways, especially if they're putting more content out on social media. One of the most important things that I think a leader should remember, it's certainly really important for me, is feeling grounded. So not feeling kind of too far from your team and not forgetting where you come from, what you've learnt, and just really making sure that you're in touch with everything that's going on and that you're not getting too big for your boots. I think there's always that reality check that whatever you do may not be quite right for you or for others. So I think it's really important to be seen, and not just to be seen for the sake of being seen, but to be there and to make sure you're showing up when you need to be, and make sure you're there, you know, if people need to come and speak to you as well. That's a major part of leadership, being compassionate, empathizing, and, you know, being approachable. So you need to constantly check that you're still approachable, that people can come and talk to you if they've got problems, so your business doesn't get away from you too. One of the things that we're doing as a business and that I'm really passionate about is making sure that we're creating the right culture. And there's a lot being said about creating culture and what goes into it. But for me, culture is the day-to-day experiences that your team have when they work for you. So constantly remembering that it's the little things that they experience, not just what you say about your culture, but how you act and how they feel able to act and interact with you is so important for your culture. And that's what makes your culture up. You can have all the social fun you like, etc. You can have all the mental health measures in place, but it's whether that you're actually approachable and you're actually listening to your team. And this is something I've thought so much about in the last year with everything that's going on in the PR industry and SEO industry. So I think it's particularly important that as a leader, I'm always listening to what people say, and that we're never finished, we're never done the job, we're never there. There's always things we can be doing to improve the experience for our team. One of the biggest challenges, I think, for me has been stepping up to the plate as a leader as the business gets bigger and really kind of showcasing our expertise and really doing that justice. And although it is a challenge, I really enjoy that pressure that comes with it. I've never been one to kind of step back and be like, oh, this isn't for me. I'm very much someone that wants to rise to it. I want to do my best and I want to make sure I'm showing that. So I've talked about so many different parts of leadership, but being genuine, being approachable, being present, and, you know, being able to motivate and inspire, for me, they're the key components of a good leader. Thanks for listening to me talk about how to be a good leader today. I hope it's been really useful. Continue watching my channel, drop me a like, subscribe, and I will see you very soon. Thanks.